Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Theorist, here with your host JC Botero67, aka Vanity Pride. Today is a lazy day for me, so no makeup, and then I'm wearing this chill shirt, which is Riverdale inspired. Actually got it from Hot Topics, so any fans of Riverdale out there, please comment below and we can talk. I was also debating if I wanted to, theorize or do a review of Riverdale, so if y'all are interested, give a shout out. But anyway, we're focusing on Tower of God, the usual, of course. And it's season 2, episode 279. Now that I'm seeing these frame things here, I mean, I set them up myself, so of course I know that they're there. But yeah, I just felt like, when I was doing my reviews, I just had like a bunch of like blank walls behind me, aside from like the iHeartRadio thing over there. But yeah, so I thought I would add a little more decoration. These were in here. They were just on other parts of the wall that cannot be seen on this camera. So, I threw in this R2D2 C3PO radio headphones thing. It's really cool. It's kind of hard to see, but, I can always like snap a picture and, include it in the review later on or something. And then, of course, the infamous Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop, because he is bae. He is husbando. All right, so enough of my fangirling and my randomness. We'll go ahead and delve right in. So as usual, we start off with a bit of a recap, and it revolves around Candy, Sleepyhead, which is the name of the other girl I finally found out, and their big breeder. And so the big breeder, last time he had offered to help them complete this quest. So the hint that he gives is that they can strike at the ground, because then that will cause the pillar to tilt and eventually fall. And then they will be able to face off and defeat the villain that is within that pillar. So my initial thought upon hearing that was that said pillar would come tumbling down, probably on the pathway that Bomb and Co. are walking down. But of course, they would avoid it. That did not happen. We will actually be touching base with Bomb and Co. in a little bit. So to end this scene with the girls and the big breeder, can't talk. The end image that we get is of a little goat. And so it kind of gives us a sneak peek into what their villain looks like. So now, speaking of Bomb and Co., they come across some dead mice. And that hints to them, of course, that their companions are pretty close by. So they actually make a bong teleportation for it, as opposed to a run. Get it? I'm a dork. I'm sorry, guys. All right. So meanwhile, the girls are doing as Big Breeder suggested, striking at the ground. I know Candy made a comment that the pillar is embedded deeper within the ground than they thought. So, I mean, they had already made like a big enough like hole around it, but like they still have a ways to go. Sleepyhead, I really loved her character in this chapter. I want to say personality so bad, but that's not the right word. I guess her ambition, because she's certain she can put enough force into her blows to knock down this pillar. And I mean, her face here looks so intense. It's great. So Koon and Co. Wow, okay. So Koon and Co. Spot the girls, and Coffee Addict actually recognizes the big breeder with them, just to sum up what's going on with them for a little bit. And Bomb, lastly, thinks that they should interfere. And of course, Koon and Coffee Addict are saying no, because Big Breeder's gonna notice, and we can't have any of that. So Coffee Addict has a suggestion to make, followed by Koon's, and we're actually gonna read that right now, because it is gold, guys. All right, so beginning with Coffee Addict. For now, let's split into teams. Bomb and I will beat the quest, while Andrasi and Koon disrupt them. Bomb, your gauge is still full, so you'll be able to proceed with the grand quest. And then Koon's like, how about I go with Bomb and you go with Andrasi to disrupt them? What are you being picky for? Are you a little kid? This is Hung Sung, of course. And then Koon is like, I'm not being picky. I just don't want to go with her. And Andrasi's just like, arms crossed, and she's like, what about me? In her mind. I don't think she asked it out loud. Maybe she did. Koon continues, I don't get along with that stubborn princess at all. And then Coffee Addict, I don't think I'll get along very well with her either. Andrasi gets so fed up, she freaking like kicks them in the face, both of them. And she's like, you should be trying to rise to my level, you losers. And Bomb is so funny, because earlier when Coffee Addict and Koon were advising him like, hey, let's not interfere, we'll come up with a different plan, Bomb was thinking, oh, these two actually get along really well. And now with Andrasi thrown into the mix, and, you know, obviously with Koon and Coffee Addict, you know, kind of having this back and forth, like, you team up with her. No, you team up with her. So Bomb gets this thought of, like, I guess I was wrong. Those three really don't get along well. It's just so funny. His face, too. It's great. So then Andrasi makes the final decision, of course, because she's my girl. She's like the real leader of this group. Let's be real. So she says, I'm going to beat the quest with Bomb. Got it? And frickin' Koon and Hansong are like bowing to her and they're like, yes. And of course, Rock has to say something because he's the real leader, right, guys? So he's like, hey, big-eyed turtle, why are you leaving me out of this too? You can't ignore your leader just because I was gone for a bit. And Andrasi gets frustrated and she's like, don't call me big-eyed turtle or I'll turn you into a bag. I really want to see her turn him into a bag. If we're being honest, guys. All right, Andrasi continues. You just stay back and guard us from a distance. You're a spear bearer. Don't you dare pop out and get your butt kicked again like usual. I'll kill you. And then Rock responds, sure. And his like thought little bubble is, she's terrifying. Yes. Andrasi has all the power, all the leadership, and I adored that scene. And I mean, you know, I get my little hints of Koondrasi when Koon's like, I can't deal with her, she's stubborn, and blah, blah, blah. It's just really cute. So, now with the teams separated. So we've got Coffee Addict and Koon on one end, Andrasi, Bomb, and Rock on the other. So, beginning with Koon and Coffee Addict. Coffee Addict has the right idea with what the girls are trying to do to complete the quest. He's basically saying what Big Breeder was suggesting. The hole striking at the ground to therefore make the pillar collapse. So Koon is coming up with ideas of how they can interrupt this quest that their friends are trying to complete. And he has two ideas, but they're not going to be good enough. So I guess we can read a little bit here. Koon is saying, what if we reinforce the ground with Shinzu so that they can't dig it out anymore? And then Coffee Addict's like, that's impossible. The Big Breeder would notice. Koon continues, what if we secretly contact our companions? And of course, Coffee Addict refutes the idea, and he's like, of course we would get caught. So Koon gets to thinking, and then third time is a charm, guys. He comes up with another idea, and he sees the top part of the pillar, and he's like, hey, what if we, turn it and therefore remove the top part? And so that's where we leave off with them. We don't get to see what happens until next chapter. Well, it looks like it's turning here, actually, if you see that. It's plus with, like, the little creak sound effect going on there. All right, so now we'll move on to Bomb and Andrasi. They have bonged over to a distant area to complete their own grand quest. So then when they actually bring it to life, of course, their villain appears. And the villain sort of reminds me of a Pokemon mashup of a somewhat Kabutops as the head, the face of Houndour, and the body of Machoke. That is the mashup thing that I came up with. I know someone else had mentioned another Pokemon that it reminded them of. It didn't so much connect with me, but, everyone has their own opinions, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. And I kind of want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this villain. Like, what does the villain remind you of? Like, is it another Pokemon mashup that you have in mind, or, any other idea from somewhere else? I'd love to hear it. All right. So anyway, Bomb faces off against this villain, and he is about to strike him with his Shinzu, and that's where we leave off with them. So now we move on to the final group, which is, of course, Sachi and Ko. So upon arrival to the hidden stage, Boro is wondering if they should go ahead and complete their quest right away. And that's when some quest scroll monster dragon pops up, and he asks them to choose a quest. Battis, of course, says that there is something that they will need to do first before they start doing their quest. And so he has Sachi use his thorn power to take him up onto the gigantic cone. And upon landing atop it, he speaks in a loud enough voice so that Koon Edwan can hear him. And so I'm going to go ahead and read that interaction for you guys here. I guess it's not so much an interaction when it's just Battis talking, but... All right. So he starts with, I am Battis. Are you listening? I have come to deliver a message from Hansung Yu. As promised, I found someone who can make your wish come true, Edwan. I hope you will help us fight the big breeder who rules this place and clear the path to King Zahard. Join us. Help us fight the data of the big breeder and King Zahard. Lord Koon Edwan. So we're going to pause for a moment on this image here. And this is the Koon kid, the infamous Koon kid. So I know I made several guesses as to who this kid would be, because I know I mentioned Mosjini, I mentioned Maria, potentially Hachuling, and of course a newbie. So I still got it right, guys, because I mentioned newbie as an option. I will take credit for that. All right, I'm going to use mashup, the word mashup, a second time today. So this kid reminds me of a mashup of Ran and Hachuling. Just something about him. I guess, like, the eyes kind of make me think of Ron. And the hair kind of gives off this, like, electric vibe to me. And so I know Koon Edwan has, like, a shit ton of wives, a shit ton of kids. And most of them are probably half-siblings. But I just get this feeling that this kid could potentially be Ron's full older brother. Which is a shame that Ran isn't around here. Or maybe it's for the better. Maybe they don't get along. I don't know. Of course, we'll find out more about this character, you know, hopefully next chapter, but if not, in the chapters to come. And then kind of get more of a background on him. See if he really is related to Ran, or if he's just a kid from another wife of Koon Edwan's. A brother from another mother. So, yeah, but I just get that electric vibe from him. And anyway, we'll go ahead and proceed with him. He's asking his dad, so that's what he's saying? What should we do, father? And Koon Edwan responds, ugh, that arrogant fool. He's still eating his grapes, of course. Does he really intend to keep his promise? And then he rises from his seat, and he's like, bring them to the stage. It looks like the time to fight is approaching. So it was interesting to see a little bit more of Koon Edwan this chapter. And it just gives me the feeling that this is the bad Koon Edwan that we're dealing with. And so I can see why Koon Agaro doesn't wish to see him. He just gives off this air that he can't be trusted. You know, especially if he's... It's really funny, because I feel like he himself is an arrogant fool, or at least the arrogant part of that. And yet he's saying that about Hansung. And Hansung, as we've seen here, this data version of him is so kind. I will keep reiterating that. And, like, I feel like you can really trust him, and that he really wants to help Koon Edwan out. Again, we're not sure about the promise just yet, but I feel like Koon Edwan is just kind of discrediting Hansung, and it's kind of sad. So, to me, I feel like he can't be trusted. And, you know, maybe he is really on Zahard's side, and he's kissing up to Zahard, but he's pretending to become friends with Hansung, and it's like, oh yeah, this promise, and blah, blah, blah. That, or it's just Koon Edwan's personality. Maybe he is willing to help out people. He might be willing to help out Sachi and Ko, and that's, like, he's going to test them to therefore see if they can prove themselves worthy enough to receive his help. So, I mean, there's kind of two sides to the coin, and, you know, we'll see what SIU does. He's a troll. We don't know. Maybe Koon Edwan is a nice guy. So, like I said, we'll see later on what happens, and I'm eager to see like how he's going to test them and all that. So, as a finishing note, I'm kind of annoyed with the comments on Webtoons, not gonna lie. There are some good ones, there are relevant ones, but there are also irrelevant ones, okay? The irrelevant ones are that people are hating on Rachel in the comments when she did not make not one appearance in this chapter. So it just does not make sense to me. There are more important points to this chapter and more relevant characters in this chapter that could be talked about. Granted, I did see some comments about the Koons, you know, what the family reunion will look like, if Koon's sister, Maria, is his sworn enemy, and, you know, if she's suddenly going to show up here. And so then we're going to be dealing with, like, 4 Koons, right? So I really liked that comment. I'm going to see if I can try to find it, but for now, I do want to read this one comment that I came across, which is phenomenal. They say, I'd like it if the comments were actually relevant to the chapter. Thank you. Everybody hates Rachel, we get it, but there's more to Tower of God than just bashing her. I'm pretty sure there are plenty of opportunities to bash her, so give some spotlight to Andrasi, or Koon, or to other characters who actually did something in the chapter. Precisely my point. Thank you. Alright. I understand why people don't like Rachel, but I mean, to keep bashing her is just kind of getting old, I guess. It's almost like, you know, like so how some fandoms hype up a certain, like, how some fans hype up a certain fandom. It's almost like that. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna join the in crowd and, you know, bash Rachel. And it's like, no. Like this person said, and like I'm saying too, there are more important things happening in this chapter that could be talked about. Like, theorize things. I really want to know what your thoughts are on Koon Edwan now that we've seen him say a little more of this. Or the frickin' new Kid Koon. Like, come on, guys. Come on. Yeah, I'm not finding that comment, sadly. I was hoping to find it. I should have jotted it down or something. Because I want to be able to give proper credit to the person who said it, too. But it was basically talking about the family reunion. If I find it, I'll go ahead and, like, include it here below. But yeah, so credit to whoever made that comment. I don't have your name on hand right now, but it'll be provided. So yeah, so that's pretty much it after my whole venting on that. Very, very interesting chapter. Things are moving along. Interesting to see, like, the group break up a little bit more. So now instead of 2 groups, it's 3. So yeah. And as usual, please comment your theories below. Do not complain about Rachel on this comment feed, okay? I want to hear about more relevant aspects of this chapter, more important ones. So on that note, I'll be nice. All right. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your week. Peace.